Hello, everyone, and welcome to State of the Realm. This week, you probably won't get too much of a heated discussion here, but a very divisive live letter number 87 is on the topic for the day, one that I am assuming we will have to revisit for weeks and weeks on end. Not next week, because I'm going on vacation next week. You heard it right. I'm actually doing one. Yeah, crazy. I know, right? Technically we could do it before I go. No, we're not. Anyway, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Happy, and of course, joining me is Sly, who is dressed to impress.
To be fair, like, there was a cape and a hat.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hi,
Sly.
Hi.
Yeah,
Hi.
look at you. I mean, actually, we're both kind of, we both,
Yeah, we're both kind of.
Yeah, I'm going to see How to Train Your Dragon later, so I figured I should probably dress up.
There it is. There it is.
There it is. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Rido, in case you didn't know, the remaster came out today, and Sly was getting in his Rido mood. Also preparing for the Hrothgar update coming in 7.3 as well. So very on topic for this live letter, I must say.
Very on topic.
Yeah. How you doing, Sly?
I'm great. Been enjoying Rido. Woke up for the live letter, and boy.
Sly, let me tell you, it's great waking up for the live letter at a normal time.
At a normal time for you. Jesus, yes.
I woke up at 5 a.m. and I was like, it's beautiful. Didn't have to go to sleep early. Didn't have to do. I'm kind of on old man schedule anyway, so it was nice. It was nice. We do have a live letter to get into, of course, but first, of course, shout out to the sponsors over on Patreon for supporting. We don't have any pay gated content, so I have so much cat hair in my mouth right now. That's what I get for hugging a cat before we started. We don't have any pay gated content, but so we have some people who support us over there. We're always grateful for that. And also, Steel Series. My discount code is not working at the moment, but I will have it working again sometime in the near future. So !mark Steel Series on the Twitch chat. If you need to get anything, one of their sales is going on, or on YouTube, it's in the description of pretty much every video. So you can always find it like that, including in this video when it gets to YouTube. So, what a live letter, Sly. And not a live letter for what was there, but a live letter for what wasn't. There's a wild thing to say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We should probably go sequentially in the order that it actually took place. I'm still uploading my initial thoughts as we speak. Curious to see how that'll go, but we'll get into all of that, very, very shortly.
So yeah, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Which was the first hour. The first hour of the live letter is what I like to call the apology tour.
The apology tour is a good one, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
The first half, and this was actually something they just put in the schedule 3 days ago when they reposted on the Lodestone. Feedback about Occult Crescent and Cosmic Exploration. Going over adjustments that they were going to be making. And this part of the live letter was pretty well received, I feel. Especially compared to the later statements that were made during the live letter.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, some of this stuff we did kind of like in talking about both Occult Crescent and Cosmic, we kind of cover this stuff and we're like, they should do this, and this, and they kind of addressed pretty much all the things we did talk about.
Yeah, kind of is definitely the right way to put it, because it is definitely not all comprehensive.
All of it, yeah.
But I would say that some of the more major pain points are addressed. And in essence, to make those to make those things work, there are other changes that lightly enforce some of the things that they could still do, but didn't really wholly commit to. They started with Occult Crescent. I thought they were going to go Cosmic first. That came out first. Why didn't they do that? They just knew Occult. Maybe Occult to give recency bias. We'll talk about that one.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
Occult Crescent. they addressed what is known as Island Gacha, which I have been seeing in my chat for quite some time since Occult came out. And it is the instance prog that we spoke to with Kyo and Lyle in our last episode, where you can do this content with up to 48 people, and pre-mades want to make groups for it, but you have to keep rolling the dice to see if you all get in the same instance. Sometimes it's really quick, sometimes it isn't, and it's a problem that will likely go down with time as the content becomes less populated over time.
Right.
Sly, do you remember what I said that episode?
Not offhand. I remember what they said.
Yeah. Very specifically that if we just had the ability to all queue into the same instance, even if then we have to deal with the snipers, that would be a vast improvement. They should have just taken the DRS equivalent and said, hey, you can go into an instance, make an instance with this. And I think they were watching because that is exactly what they're doing. They're making it so you can make pre-made, make an up to 48 player alliance, and queue all into the same instance. Yeah, chat said it best. No need to reinvent the wheel on that. We had a system for these large scale things, even if it's still not the entirety of the addressing the issue, but that eliminates a major pain point.
Agreed. And mind you, this will be in 7.3 in August. We'll get to the whole date and everything, but pretty much our math is the same, and we're saying August 5th. So
there's no way it's not August 5th. So even right here, they specifically say patch 7.3 will be early August, way ahead of the actual patch artwork, which we wouldn't see for another hour. I always have to break it down. How do we know that's August 5th? Not everyone understands, but Japan breaks their calendar into thirds. Early is the first 10, middle is the middle 10, and the last however many days are late. There is only one Tuesday in early August, August 5th. And that is also the 19-week mark after the previous patch. So it all lines up for the August 5th release date. So we've got that pretty much on lock at this point. They did make one other change. Now, because we have the 48 players, all up to 48 players, all able to get into the same instance, that doesn't wholly address the Fork Tower instance problem. There are still 24 other players in that instance who could potentially try to join. At the very least, it's only 24 players working on anything else on the map. A whole different problem that maybe they'll just learn that lesson for later, but it isn't addressed here, the whole 72 player limit. Who can enter? They can just choose to put in a cipher. This doesn't really address it, but they're making it so you need a cipher. You have to contribute one cipher to be eligible for entry at this point, which is a fine change. It doesn't really address the sniping thing, but it at the very least puts a little bit more onus on people to always have ciphers prepared. At minimum,
I don't see why they wouldn't. I don't see why anyone wouldn't. I mean,
pretty much people are so lazy at trying to put ciphers in, Sly.
It's not even that, putting the whole cipher thing in. It's more of, I don't see why you wouldn't have ciphers to begin with. Like, they're cheap. I mean, after you
make all that gear, Sly. All that gear.
After you get gear, after you get, the jobs, both, gold and silver, like all the silver, like it's just going to ciphers right now, to be fair.
I can't put myself, dude, I need like 200,000 silver for every gear set. I ain't fucking spending. I'm doing golds.
Oh my God.
Gold is so easy. I can solo like 3k gold an hour. That's 3 ciphers basically in an hour. Like I can do that solo. So yeah, definitely not a problem. The point still stands. It is definitely not a problem. But a lot of people do try to get by without a cipher. That's not going to be an option anymore. And snipers almost always have a cipher. It's rare that a player trying to get in, and I use the term snipers kind of as a general term to encompass curious players that happen to be trying to enter a group. I know it sounds negative, but I'm using it all encompassingly to include those the less the players who aren't trying to be deliberately destructive of a group that's trying to do it. They usually have ciphers on them, so if anything, it makes the people who are in the pre-made more responsible for their own ciphers at the very least. So they have to have it. It's not a big deal. One thing that's a little curious, they're adding a list of players who have actually put in a cipher as a feature. So when you pull up the cipher menu, it will tell you which players have put in ciphers. That means that if there is a player who's not part of the pre-made, you can very easily spot that they're on the list, and that you can check to see if all of your players have indeed actually put ciphers in. So that could be that's one of those things where it's not a bad idea, but people can use it to like point out the guy who doesn't, isn't part of the group.
Yeah.
I would like to see, and Keo and Lyle talked about it a bit last week, where it's becoming more the standard to leave a few spots open in case somebody does try to join from the zone, and to treat them as you kind of analyze them early on to see if they can go further without jeopardizing the group, and you see how far you can actually take them and learn with it. And I think that's the smart idea. I think even one of the Discords now has a standard will not bring 48 people on a run. They'll leave a few spots open to make sure that they have that spot. So, or that they have those spots just in case, and to actually just try to help those people to work with the team instead of treating them as an outlier. That's the golden way that this kind of goes. I think the middle ground, where a few confident pugs coming in can learn.
Yeah, that's a solid workaround.
Yeah.
For the whole sniper issue, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's only really bad. I think the sniping issue is really only a week 1 problem where they're like bad about it because some people are deliberately trying to find those groups and screw with them, or they just see the opportunity to there's a lot more malicious entry in week 1 when pre-mades are going. There's always way more butting of heads. In the subsequent weeks, you do tend to see players who are genuinely just a little more curious, or maybe just don't understand the dynamic that there is a pre-made group and like how they factor into that. So again, that's one of those like week 1 problems I think goes away with time. And I think that we'll probably see a lot more adoption of players going through and actually learning with this system in place overall. So optimistic, but at the very least, the whole instance gotcha thing is no longer a thing. So yeah, solid. One that really surprised me was the next one, the normal and savage version request. Now, to be clear,
I kind of knew this was going to come up.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the most major points. Now, keep in mind, some people thought people want a savage version. You got it backwards. Savage is what we currently have.
Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normal is
people
like
want
CLL
a normal
and
version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. They said that cost is a problem. Some people interpret that as money. It's likely more manpower and time than anything else to effectively QA.
I would assume budget a little bit in that.
I wouldn't assume budget. No.
A little bit.
Because listen, the 14 team throwing more money at a problem doesn't make it happen. At the end of this live letter, they're like, bro, we're hiring more people. Like, we clearly have the budget. We need people. Like, they're specifically hiring battle content designers, especially. So I think they understand they need more battle content designers as a whole. And they clearly have the budget to do it. They're already doing it. Like, they need people to sign up for the job. Manpower and time is the more likely thing, because QAing 2 different large-scale raids like that is 2 different QA processes as a whole. You can't just do one and then, upscale it, downscale it, and not do the other. So more likely than that. But they did say the request is heard, and in the future they will try to always have both difficulties. So we're looking at Fort Tower Magic having a CLL equivalent and having a Savage equivalent.
Which is good.
Yeah. So that's another W as far as I'm concerned, because we addressed it with Occult Crescent when in our last episode, where one of the issues of Dawn Trail has been an under-indexing on content that a larger majority of players can participate in. There's been an over-index on like higher difficulty stuff, even since Endwalker, and an under-index on average player, to not Raider, not interested in Raider players and their content. So this, I think, is a necessary step, and it sounds like a long-term lesson learned, not an issue we should have to revisit in the future, in theory.
Yeah.
If anything, you would see the opposite happen at some point, a CLL only without a Savage version. I think that is a potential somewhere down the line. And I don't even think that's a problem. I don't think every single one needs to be a BA
I
or
think
a
that would be I think that would be a problem, honestly. Like,
no,
I think that's overcorrecting.
It's people.
I think it's
people
overcorrecting.
Like me would bitch, but you can't care about people like me.
But they do, unfortunately.
I know, but we suck. Like, just get over it. Like, we we always want more harder shit. You can't listen to us every time.
Can someone just clip that? I know, but we suck.
We always want more. We're like, yeah, give me the raids. Yeah, give me the hearts.
I want a raid.
Where's these fucking casuals?
Just rabid raiders.
Yeah, Endwalker. I was eating good in Endwalker. Everyone else like, this expansion sucks. I'm like, I can't hear you through this third criterion that I'm doing. Yeah. But listen. I've turned a little bit here. I accept that it's maybe been a little too long of that. Okay. You know,
that's fair.
So yeah, having both. But I will again. I never really wished there was a CLL Savage or a Dalriada Savage. So I'm more okay with it being the other way around if it's like deemed necessary. Like, for example, if there's a DRS where it's its own separate instance, especially, I don't need to expect every like CLL dollar. Like, it made sense in that context. Even if there was a normal and a savage of that, it just made more sense, right? Like, looking at it as a whole, it made more sense then. So yeah, if anything, I would expect more indexing on the normal modes and less indexing on the savage modes. So. But I mean, if they want to do them both every time, go right ahead. They will need to work on the entries, though. Maybe make the normal mode one like the one that just spawns in zone, like we have with CLL, Dalriada. Savage, if you enter and 48 players put in a cipher, or like you have an alliance, like we have that alliance queue now, that like overall queue. As long as that keeps you in the alliance when you get in, which is not how DRS works, but maybe they could develop a system. Just the ability to like put in the required entry and kind of claim the instance, because especially if there's only 72 people, you don't have to worry about, you know, not being the majority in almost any case. So there's definitely some room for improvement in that as well. Speaking of room for improvement, magic pots and carrots do not have rewarding enough drops.
No, shut up.
So I have the solution.
You don't say.
I have it.
What's up?
I have the solution.
What's up?
Okay. What is the difference between the Eureka bunnies and the magic pots? What's a key difference? There's one key difference.
One key difference?
One.
Between the bunnies and the pots.
Mm-hmm.
You can still make money off of bunnies?
I honestly think money's probably better from pots now, but okay.
Okay.
Bro, what's
the big difference?
All the Eureka rewards are in the chests in Occult Crescent. It's only the logograms that are worth anything back there now. The key difference is the in-zone currency. In Eureka, they don't need materia to fall back on as much because they have logograms. They can make those a drop. They can make it an only source of the drop. And now there's a legitimate need for every player to either buy those items or to engage with that part of the content. It's not sectioned off.
Mm-hmm.
Magic pots, because there is no currency other than the silver and gold coins, not one that's exchangeable between players, there's no equivalent to that. So instead, there's materia, which is just kind of like a general progression item that everybody uses, except in there, funnily enough, unless you went and got like the item level 700 hunt gear. So, one of two things needs to happen. Minimum, I think, put silver coins in those. I think they need to have silver coin drops in them as well. Bare minimum. Because think of it, you're probably skipping a fate or even potentially a CE to hit your magic pot.
Yeah, yeah.
You
should
go
search for do the CE, do the pot CE, and then go for search for it. So yeah. And I've skipped some CE, so yeah.
Yeah, I 100% think that's a bare minimum. I also think whether it's in the next OC, not in the current one, but in the next one, or in a subsequent field op, you design it from the beginning with some sort of currency that holds value specifically to people in the zone that is exchangeable between players.
Okay. So yeah, you're speaking from the content side of it. Like within the content itself. What about the other side where I want to make money?
That's how you make money. Because when logograms are exchangeable between players, there's something of value at all times because it's a consumable. It's not something you can hold on to and you obtain it once and you never need it again. So you need to make either silver needs to be valuable to people to make money in some capacity. That's another.
You like attach a gil amount to it is what you're saying?
Yeah, attaching a gil amount, which then again, that still doesn't really help the problem because then people will just want to go do the CEs just as much instead of doing the pots. So I don't think that's the right way. Or you need to add something that is exchanged. Like if you could sell silver to other players, that would be a different story. You know?
Yeah.
But either that or there needs to be like forms of consumables that are valuable. Like the fact that you can buy all of the chemist stuff for pretty cheap, whether it be from silver, gold, or with gil itself. If that stuff was in the chests, it would hold value, right?
Yeah.
It would hold long-term value. If you can make silver for a carrot, or if you could find a carrot, honestly, you could probably just stick carrots in there too. That's another. I'm not gonna lie, you could probably just stick carrots in the magic pot chests. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
I don't see why they don't already.
Oh, instead of RMT, if you can sell silver, it becomes SMT.
Jesus Christ!
I'm gonna hit that feature with a vengeance. There we go. You can blame chat for that one. Now, of course, that wouldn't fix the carrot chests. So the carrot chests have like a couple of useful items, but it's the same deal. You really do need some sort of consumable currency that holds value that is strictly earned through this within the contents of the zone itself. I think that's the real answer. And the first zone's not built for that. Maybe something in the second could be, but I think it's more of a long-term lesson and a good way of really analyzing one of the things that Eureka Bunnies did very, very well. As someone with a lot of experience to do this. Yeah, even just adding a voucher from the magic pots and then adding a vendor that sells items exclusively from the magic pot vouchers. Yeah, like the point is that these are items of value that players may not always obtain. And that's the thing. It's Gamba, which we'll get to some Gamba later. I'll tell you about that. Oh yeah. Enemies and fates defeated too quickly. This is a really ambiguous answer. They're just kind of like, we're pushed to limits as to what's possible. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Here's what could happen.
Okay.
They could overcorrect on the fate scaling, and there have been many a time in OC where, hey, there's this CE that just popped up and you're in the middle of a fate and everybody fucks off of the fate to go to the CE and you're there wondering, why is this shit dying? Oh, nobody's here. Should I fuck off? Possibly.
Probably fuck off. Yeah.
You should probably fuck up, but you already missed the CE. Congratulations.
All right. So, no, if you missed the CE, that's on you.
Yeah. So I feel like they could overcorrect and, really fuck up the fate scaling. Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't say the solution, but my alternative is for them to not have one fucking thing up at one time that everybody's going to fucking hit. And
you want the Bozia. You want the Bozia map where you could kind of weigh in like what options.
Your keyword options.
Options.
Fucking options. Yeah, exactly. So don't have just one fucking fate that everybody's going to. Don't have just one fucking CE that everybody's going to. Have a couple at a time. Give people options, You know
what's funny is like the reason why it is the way that it is because people were frustrated at being excluded from CEs and Bozia. Like to have like have a 48 player CE, but there's 72 people in the zone, so 24 people get left out. That was the main reason why it kind of is the way that it is. And I get that, but actually it being that way, it has a different effect when you have that, and then you also have a bunch of fates up at the same time. Missing the CE isn't like the end of the world nearly as much as it could be. Whereas here, with only one CE and one fate, and if the fate's upscaled and you reset it and it doesn't kind of go down, it kind of goes in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So It also makes the writing map a definite requirement. Oh, yeah. Which, to be fair, I was going to get it first no matter what. Come on. It's move speed. For sure. Please increase the drop rate of Demiatma and Soul Shards. My man hit you with the... That seems like a you problem.
No. He's just straight up, no.
He said not yet. And not in the early days.
No, okay. But still, I take that at face value as no. And then the worst part, here's what really fucking gets me about this. To give you some numbers, CE drop rate is 20%, Fate drop rate is 5. Are you fucking playing XCOM, my dude? Those are the wrong numbers. I'm so fucking sorry. Anybody who believed those numbers, you're too gullible. You're too gullible. I could probably, if you were a well, I could probably sell you water. I don't know. I mean, goddamn, you should not believe those numbers. Nobody should in their wildest dreams believe those numbers.
Okay, I'll say this, Sly. I actually believe the Fate number. It's the CE number I don't
Oh
believe.
My God.
No, you don't want to know why, Sly? It's very easy to understand the Fate number. Very easy.
Why?
Sly, the last Pentameld on an accessory is a 5% rate. I have lost 83 fucking materia in one overmeld before. That's this. That's a bad.
No, wait. Are you talking new system overmilled or old system overmilled?
It's still 5%. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. The percentage of the success hasn't changed, Sly.
That's bullshit. I haven't lost that much on a fucking last slot overmill. No, not since the new system. I remember the old system. Yeah, it got fucking nutty. But with the new system,
the percentage hasn't changed. Sly, the odds are the same.
Something has changed. Okay, maybe I just might be fucking lucky on my melts.
Nothing's changed, Sly.
I don't know.
I've lost 80 materia. This is effectively losing 80 fates, 80 fate odds. Like that, it's a total thing that can happen. That's how probability works.
Yeah, I'll reach that last slot and I'm like, yeah, I only have like maybe 30, 40 left. You used 17. I'm like, okay, cool. Great. I'll take that.
I'll say this, even 17. So Sly, also factor this in. Imagine, yes, let's say you get 1 in 17. Okay. Now let's say you get the wrong fucking Atma. Because you also have to roll the 5% in in what is it? Like 15%. It's like it's 17.5. 17.5% of the fates and CEs can even give you the item you want, and then a 5% roll on those. Like that to me makes perfect sense with my experience, anecdotally with my experience. The CEs being 20%, that feels like nonsense.
Now, when he says fates, or is he saying fates within the zone or fates outside?
You know, he's not clear because I feel like the ones outside, people have been telling me the ones outside are worse than 5%, but it could just be more 1 in 83 odds kind of thing. Like, you know, just losing.
Again, maybe I just had like really, really good luck when it came down to this because, again, like I felt like the only one I really, really had to shoot for because you're not getting a lot of either fates or hell, there's only one CE in that zone, and that's the Southwest Zone, the Vertigus Demiatma. Yeah. And I had to go to Kazama Uka for that. And I had a better time in Kazama Uka than I did in the actual Occult Crescent. Like it took literally maybe like 90 minutes. 90 minutes of just doing fate farms because everybody else was fucking doing it. And I was done.
Yeah,
so maybe I just have like really fucky luck. Yeah.
I mean, that's how it's always like, again, and then they go over it. The Realm Reborn Atmas were a 2% drop rate, which I definitely believe. And this actually took about the same amount of time as that to get the correct Atmas. So like, obviously this is including getting a ton of extras of the wrong one, you know, so.
Speaking of that, one thing they did not bring up, which should have got brought up, was actually, you know, having duplicate or extra Demi-Atma as currency.
Yeah. This was never going to come up. They didn't talk about the relic at all in terms of like the current step. They didn't address.
Yeah, hey, what am I gonna do while all this extra dimmy at I don't fucking need? Nothing. Just dump it. Thanks.
Just dump it. Dump it. Yeah, it's I believe, at the very least, I believe the fate number. The other one is, to me, the other one's the more questionable one. Because it's tough for me to accept those odds as the correct odds, in all honesty. But that's what they say they are. But that's just how probability works. Nobody can ever actually believe probability, because probability is not a promise.
No.
20%, I've lost 20% odds more times than I can care as well. Like, you know how many times I've been told I have a 20% success of something, and it's just miss. Yo, if we're playing Final Fantasy 14, y'all motherfuckers know if it says 99%, that shit's like 80% chance of failing. You know, them motherfuckers.
I'm telling you, these are XCOM numbers.
They are.
Don't believe them.
They truly still. Oh man. But yeah, they said that they are not. Sorry. Yeah. Sophie's texting me about date everything, and she just met Trapdorian, which is Ben Starr.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that game. Made me drink.
Made you drink? Do you not like? Listen, I thought you were gonna see Betty and be like, "All right."
No, seriously, I was. I mean, Betty was probably the best part of that damn game. Everything else.
That's just because she was down the fuck instantly, Sly. I already know my man's living at mock
She's
speed.
a bed and she's comfortable.
Just saying. Anyway, back to Occult Crescent.
Yeah.
The window for auroral mirages, which is the weather for Fort Tower, is too short. Currently, it's only 5 minutes. And a CE, if you enter a CE and auroral mirages happens right after, then there's almost no way you're making Fort Tower. So we actually were banning CEs before like the 30-minute mark, because we didn't want anyone to like think, oh, it's safe to go into CE and then get locked out of Fort Tower. That won't be a problem anymore, because now Fort Tower cannot spawn if a CE is up. So it'll still probably be the 30-minute wait at the start of the instance. But then if at the 30 mark something is up, it'll wait until the CE fully resolves. So you have no more concern over getting kicked, just having to choose one or the other, which subsequently makes getting the silver to buy ciphers, if you want to buy them with silver, that is, wholly self-sufficient. Because that's 3 CEs for 1 cipher. 3 CEs in 30 minutes is going to happen, plus any fates that you do. So it's still going to be a net positive on silver gain.
Yeah.
So good. They're also fixing some cast translation errors, which I just found out today. In French and German, they fixed the Mudman ones, the Royal Flush one, and the Bog down one. Mm-hmm. However, I didn't know French and German had the worst translation error that was humanly imaginable. So you know how the Mudman problem is an in-out mechanic, but not really that important. Like, you probably survive it, right?
Yeah. I mean, you take a hit, it'll do like maybe like 60%, but you're fine.
Yeah. The French and German one, it's the in-out mechanic equivalent on the final boss of Fork Tower. Not as forgiving of a location to have that problem. So that is the hotfix on Monday, and a very necessary one at that. Because it's like Lance Blow and Axe Blow. And it's just, they all say Lance Blow, which is not good. Even if you mid it and survive it, which is very easy, it doesn't hit for lethal numbers all the time. You get Thrice Come Ruin. So not good. Not good.
Not good at all.
Yeah. They even go back and mock the whole larboard starboard problem in all this mess.
Yeah.
Then we move over to Cosmic Exploration, allowing mounts. They will allow mounts on the next planet.
Yay!
And at 7.3, you will be allowed to use cosmic mounts in the moon as well. So 7.3, moon, 7.31, next planet, which we do get a peek at the next planet later.
So I wonder because what the fuck are the hoverboards for now? And if that's the case, like you spend all that time to make the hoverboards, and then now they're pretty much rendered useless unless
because you're not flying through the zone, and these are still going to be able to go over terrains and shit.
True, but
they're going to be faster.
I'd say
the hoverboards are going to be faster.
Okay.
Yeah. The terrain alone makes the hoverboards more valuable because you can't fly. If you could fly, the hoverboards would be useless. But I don't think, to be fair, they haven't said you can't fly. We just assume you're not going to be able to fly. I think it's pretty safe to assume.
Yeah.
Also, gathering missions are going to have their timers extended for certain missions, probably the harder ones, I would imagine.
So.
Yeah, the mission report window is going to open automatically. Yoshi P was kind of upset that it wasn't that way and that it should have been automatically. And also, they are now going to be fully restoring GP at the end of your gathering missions and...
Thank fucking God.
And resetting your cordial cooldown.
Let's fucking go.
This will bring it in parity with the crafting missions in terms of convenience and speed. And should be an overall better experience for 7.3 onward.
Great. Because what was your recourse? If you were a gatherer, what was your recourse? What did Time say? Well, Time told me, well, you could either wait on your GP or you could switch to a fucking crafter and do some crafter shit. Wait on your GP.
Yeah.
But my response, I don't want to. I literally don't want to. I just want to keep doing gathering shit. So, yes, thank you. Jesus Christ, thank you.
There you go. Jesus didn't do it. It was the dev team. Sequential missions are going to be made more visible. Most people didn't even know it was a feature at first. Even it's in the it tells you about it when you first start. It's like in the tutorial, but most people didn't know, and they didn't know when one was available. And make projects easier to successfully complete. They're still kind of analyzing that one. And a system that allows for a sort of follow-up to a failed project. Honestly, I don't know how much data this really needs, but probably also just don't turn off red alerts if it fails the entire time.
Yeah.
Also, don't move the shop NPCs. Honestly, I hadn't really noticed them moving that much, but it's whatever.
Wait,
I don't care.
No. This is not an issue for us. You know who was an issue for?
Who?
Botters.
I mean, I'm sure there are some people who also don't know where the NPCs are, Sly. People can't. People don't know their left ass cheek from their right ass cheek, Sly. Come on.
It is not that hard. Use your eyes. That's it.
You're asking for
the only issue this is for fucking botters. Yeah, this is a botting issue. So move on. Don't even fucking worry about it.
I wish I could say that was true, Sly, but I know too many directionally challenged people. I also didn't even really notice that they moved. Yeah. Please have holograms from the beginning. That's for the stellar star thing. Yeah, that'll be true in the second planet. And add more incentives to play after completing the tools, which, I would say is a relative concern. You're either working on the 500k mount or working on the rest of the tools, and those are really kind of the only in-betweens. The other rewards you'll either have obtained or will be so cheap by the time you're done with your cosmic tools, you can just buy them. So there's that. I also, by the way, I have a feedback that I didn't see here that I was shocked. I'm surprised people didn't have any feedback about mech ops. A mech op should realistically, if nobody signs up to be in the mech, you should just be able to freely sign up to be in the mech without having to pay the cost. And the mech should also get the bonus, for the crafting. It doesn't make any sense. If the mech is going to be the 1,000 points to get in, so you get a ticket back, it's okay, but I was going to do that. I could have just gambled instead. You gave me a little bit of cosmic credits on top of that and no buff. Yeah. So I would like to see them make them more valuable to do. I would like to see people who don't have the buff value going to get the buff for 20 missions. That's what I would like. Retainer bell they are adding, and also they're going to add a ticket that teleports you directly to driving away. They didn't say how you would obtain it. I would assume with the cosmic credits. That because I can say I kind of get where they're coming from, because sometimes I zone in.
I don't.
And I go, okay, where the fuck is he again? Because he's like at the bottom of a hill, like underneath the thing.
Right. And I have to do a full rotation of Best Way Burrow just to see where he is.
Yeah. So, but my solution is move him closer to the Aetheryte, and that's it.
There you go.
Why do you need a ticket?
No.
No,
you're making extra steps for something that can just be easily, like you said, just put him near the Aetheryte, easily visible because you're right at the Aetheryte.
Yeah.
Noon. You're done.
Yeah. That's all I would do. I just don't want to spend cosmic credits on tickets. That's materia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or even just let you do it from the Aetheryte and Best Way Burrows. Just like click on it. Just go there.
Simple solution.
They didn't want Driving Way to be out of a job. There was genuine concern about Driving Way having his, like, they've already struggled with purpose once before. Or we're really trying to take their jobs again now.
We're really, really shifting into the lore for quality of life. Oh my God.
Yeah, we can't fire Driving Way. That's messed up. They got workers' unions and shit in the moon probably at this point. Union Way. It's perfect. And that basically covered the feedback portion of the live letter. Mostly good stuff.
The apology tour.
We're missing. The apology tour, as Sly likes to call it. So, yeah, that was the first half. Like I said, they just added that on to the programming a few days ago. So then we get to the original programming. And this is where the voices kick in. Again, not because of what is here, but because of what isn't.
Maybe a little bit because of what is, too.
No, not really that much.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
So we get the patch artwork, the patch name, promise of tomorrow, a few screenshots, early August.
Yep.
See Sphene with a book. So she didn't get the memo about Summoner not being good, so maybe Scholar. Tough to say.
Maybe.
Yeah, we get a few screenshots that, you can make your own predictions. There's a purple regulator, and I only know it's purple because chat told me, so thank you. And if they're lying to me, fuck you.
No, it's purple.
Okay, thank goodness for that. Great. And we have Calyx with his... I was like, I know that's his pen/marker, but somebody said, why does Calyx have a pregnancy test? And I'm just like...
now I can't unsee it. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. That's funny. I was like, that's funny. Okay. I get it. He's kind of a weird guy. So maybe he just has one on hand at all times. You never know when you'll need it. So yeah, just a few quick previews of the MSQ. Then we got to the crafting tribe, the Yakui. And as I've said before, that troll is looking fabulous. I don't know what color that is though.
Cerulean?
Why can't we just say fucking blue?
Because it's not, it's like a lighter blue. It's kind of like, it's not a normal blue is what I'm saying. So it's cerulean.
Anyway, he's not a troll. He's giant. Someone has played Final Fantasy 11. In Final Fantasy 11, they are known as the trolls. And so the Yakui are giants here. But to Final Fantasy 11 players, they will always be trolls.
Mm-hmm.
They are crafters, of course. There was the only one left, so makes sense. And we get to see a golem that they're reworking on. The first boss of the dungeon, I had forgotten about, showing up here. I guess just visiting, having fun. Yeah. And then some nice structures. But the Yakui, we were expecting. It looks like it's probably its own separate instance accessible from... what's it called? Wachimpello? Not Wachimpello. That's the name of the teleport itself. Urkopacha. It's probably like you speak to an NPC and it takes you away. Kind of like the fairy areas and
kind of like
the other ones.
Yeah, the Pixie Fair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't remember in any area, well, with that much space being that snowy. And I don't know if they're just going to plop it onto the map somewhere. But it looks like it's higher up the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want the dungeon. Do you want the dungeon boss to be the mount, or do you want the golem to be the mount?
I'm thinking lean more towards dungeon boss.
Why not both? Yeah. There you go. Why not both?
Yeah.
Yep.
They're only going to give us one mount.
They've given us 2 before. I think the Ananta was 2. If memory is serving. An elephant and a... Griffin. There you go. I was waiting. That was me desperately waiting for chat to give me the answer. We have hard boiled.
An egg in these trying times.
An egg for your life. I've been making so much egg fried rice as of late, Sly. Breakfast, just I pull out the wok, just do some egg fried rice. So good. Griffin. Yeah, Peter Griffin. Ah, crap. Where's our golden llama, too? Is the golden llama hitting the shop for 50 million gil this patch?
Oh, boy.
That's another thing I want to know about, since we're talking about mounts. Yes, we got some funny screenshots for Hildebrand. And then we get the dungeon, the Meso Terminal. We are going back to Living Memory, which I figured from the screenshots for the MSQ. And this time, instead of being Alexandria, we're going to Treno from Final Fantasy IX. Some people thought it was still Alexandria. A lot of people think that it's Ruby's Theater in that screenshot. That is actually an area, that is an item shop in Treno, which is over by one of Baku's hideouts in the city. So you see Marcus in this area. It's right outside where you go to visit Baku. One of the Zodiac stones is on the top of the item shop behind it. So, yeah, that is what that is. That is the item shop in Treno. So more Final Fantasy IX injection. I would assume that this means that Calyx... I'm trying to remember. Treno, Lindblom, and what's it called? I know Treno and Lindblom were both at war. I'm sorry, Alexandria and Lindblom were both at war. I don't remember where Treno fit into all of that. I only remember those two being at war. Because Treno is not a war city. It's like a nightlife city. So, maybe just something lost. Maybe just where he is, where Calyx is, like his originator, his programmer is actually from. I don't know. We shall see. Dungeon's part of the MSQ. And then the trial, which remains a mystery.
Are you part of the, demographic who's thinking Necron?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Those are Necron's rings right there. They're not. Let me be very clear. Oh, and also, yeah, I thought at first when I first saw it, I thought it was the bar in Alexandria as well. Not ruling it out. I don't really remember the symbol at the top of the bar, just to go back to that. But that was my first thought when I saw it. But I do think it is the item shop down by Trent. I have to go back and look, honestly. After I platinumed Final Fantasy IX, I tried to pretend like it never existed ever. So I've blocked a lot of the imagery out. But yeah, those are Necron's rings behind the head there. It's not going to be called Necron.
Yeah, but we'll know. We will know.
Yeah, I expect to see like Grand Cross and a few other, a notable mechanics from that motherfucker, but that's 100% some sort of Necron stand-in. So I'm wholly expecting it, but we won't learn anything. We'll just have to get there and do it for ourselves. Then we have our Final Fantasy XI raid, and we have a couple of locations.
Yay for racist elves.
Isn't that in most fantasy elves are racist though? Everyone's racist in most.
To be fair, it's 11. Everybody's racist.
That's because in classic fantasy, everyone's racist. The dwarves hate the elves, hate the humans hate the elves, hate the dwarves. It's a tale as old as time when it comes to
yeah, but I remember starting to play 11 and going to Sandoria. I'm like, fuck, these guys are really, really
racist.
They're
really racist. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're exceptionally more racist than the other races. So, so it looks like Sandoria, the second walk, is where we are doing the second walk, not to be confused with the second walk. I only own one walk. All right. So, Don't need a second. I know I just talked about my walk before. I have to clarify this. This is the second one. The second location that we see, it's hard to tell with the dramatization of it. To me, it looks like Bucidine Glacier, and that's Fei Yin. It would technically make more sense if it was Kufim and that was Delkfoot. The angle that they've given it, it makes it hard to see the most identifying feature of Kufim, which would be the spine that's rolling through that connects to Delkfoot Tower. But the cliffside is very akin to standing by the water in front of Delkfoot Tower.
So you really think that's Delkfoot Tower?
So it makes a lot of sense. Delkfoot was earlier this morning before the live letter began. Somebody asked me to predict the locations. I predicted Tabnasia, not Sandoria, but Sandoria is definitely a better choice. Sandoria is actually inextricably tied to Tabnasia lore-wise, so it actually is a big thing for Prish. They were the country that basically the Tabnasians are kind of like Sandorians by default. In fact, Sandoria is responsible for Tabnasia's fall. They actually plan to sacrifice Tabnasia as part of the plan with the Orcish invasion over there. It would make sense for this. It would also make sense for Bucidine because Sandoria is the nation closest, though that we've already proven with the first raid that literally doesn't matter with Boyata Tree and the Northlands being on other sides of the fucking planet, basically. Literally, like, I think if in Vanadil, like, the castle where Shadowlord is here, and Fei Yin is like, I'm sorry, not Fei Yin, and Boyata Tree is here. They were literally on opposite sides of the fucking continent, so that doesn't matter. But the big thing is the third slide. The third slide tells us what I kind of already knew, and that Camlanot is one of the bosses, because that is Camlanot right there. That is his shoulder pad.
Yeah, you're right.
So, for those who don't remember the end of the first raid, it is implied by Surreal Jaw that he wants to give Galul Jaja. He almost wants to, I think implied he wanted to split up the heads, and instead of them all both inhabiting one body, he wanted to give them each their own body. So he needed strong leaders from Vanadil's history. And I was like, oh, that's Camlanot and Ealdnark. I think that's exactly what happened. I think he split the Galul Jaja heads into Camlanot and Ealdnark here. That also looks like it's in Juno, the third screenshot. So I assume he is the duchy of I mean, he is the what's it called? No, it's the Grand Duchy of Juno. He's he runs the place.
Yeah. I'm so used to seeing Cameline as like, casual wear, the cape and everything.
He's the Archduke. There, the Archduke of Juno. Yeah. So it makes sense that he would be in Juno. He's the Archduke of Juno. El Presidente. Yes, he's El Presidente. I'm sure that's what Surreal Jaw is going to say too. Yes, El Presidente. Yeah. So, I assume if that's, so Kufim into Delkfoot would make a lot of sense with him there. The bosses, I'm not really sure what you would do in Kufim. Bucidine has some more notable bosses that you can use, especially if they pull bosses from Fei Yin and just put them on the outside. But Camlanot and Ealdnark being two of the bosses, I'm almost certain. I'm not sure the boss of Sandoria could be an Orcish king. They could also, it would be pretty cool if they took. So, oh, wait a minute. He's looking for strong commanders. They might all be commanders. So Camlanot and Ealdnark would be two, but it could be Tryon as the first boss. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go with Prince Tryon as the first boss. I'm up for that. He's an important lore figure in 11. For those who don't know, I could totally see some sort of re-envisioning of Prince Tryon being the first boss. And then the second boss. I don't know. The second boss is a little bit different. There's a few options depending on if that's, because that even could be, that doesn't have to be the second place we go. That could be Kufim up to Delkfoot, and that's where Camlanot is. Similar to how the way we go into the Archangels arena. We start in Sky and then go into the arena. Could be the same thing. So without saying the second location, it's tough to tell. But yeah, I think I think Prince Tryon, yeah, and also Final Fantasy 11 players want to beat the shit out of him anyway, so he's a really good option. Prince Tryon had put us through a lot of fucking headaches in Final Fantasy 11, so yeah, he's a really good candidate for a first boss. And yeah, then I wonder, because I wouldn't be surprised if they go to Windurst or Bastok as the second location. But I don't want to fight I don't want to fight the Star Sibyl, and no, we're not fighting Shantoto. That's a bad idea. But Bastok has Zaid.
I don't see how they would design a Star Sibyl fight, though. Honestly,
I mean, if she's cracked out and evil, who the fuck knows? But if Surreal Jaw is kind of like, you know, doing his own thing, but Zaid for Bastok could make a lot of sense. He is another, like, he's not a commander, but he is like one of the lead figures of everything going on.
Oh yeah, Zaid, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Zaid would be
my boy.
Yeah, Zaid would be a cool fight. So yeah, I'm gonna lock in. At the very least, I'm confident to guess Camelot and Ealdnark. Tryon and Zaid will be my maybe guesses, and I think the other area might be Bastok that we go. And then I think Windurst will be the final walk. It'll either be Tavnasia as the final walk, or Windurst as the final walk.
So what you're saying is we don't have to worry about, or we don't get to see any Ottergon whatsoever.
I don't think so. I think when they dig into the history, I know you don't want to see not just Salahim. I mean, yeah, I guess Karaha Baruha with his Fenrir summon is a good Windurst idea as well. There are plenty of very notable figures in Windurst, just not the Star Sibyl herself.
Yeah.
And then I think we save Promethea and the emptiness stuff. Like, I think probably see Tavnasia into Promethean, into Altayu, into the Imperial Paradox would make a really good final raid. So I would be down with that. It's all COP areas at that point. Listen, the last boss is either Promethea or Altana. It's got to be one. Like, it's a real job making himself into Altana. Awful, but I could see him doing it. I think he'd sooner be Promethea.
Does sound reasonable.
I think he'd sooner make himself into Promethea, though. Because that's kind of what happens with Nagmaloda, where he becomes, like, he kind of gives himself to make Promethea exist. I mean, Surreal Jock could fill that role pretty well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident about those guesses. I like it. There we go. No, the Black Mage story is not Shantoto. It's not Shantoto. It's Shatoto. It's not Shantoto. Everyone always adds the N. It is Shatoto. Clearly a reference, but not the same thing. And then we have, what's this guy's name again? I keep calling him the Adventurer.
Who?
The elf.
Oh yeah.
The us.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, Prisoner Tacos erased my memory. I just want more tacos now. I keep forgetting his name. He's a good character too. I feel bad. They did a good job using him as like a player insert. Cause he didn't have a name. He like gave himself a name based on like a word, or like we gave him a name, or like somebody around us, or like Prish gave him a name or something. It was like a word for something. I don't think it was Alvin, even with an A, not Alvon, like Elvin. No. Yeah, it's a mammal jaw word. That's right. It was a mammal jaw word that they made for his name. I have also forgotten. They did a good job with his character. I feel bad. He wasn't like a forgettable character. He's got a lot of really good moments that act as I understood that reference, guy. Oh, man. But either way, yeah, one more screenshot of them. We have Seiryu Unreal. Looking forward to it. Sly.
Yeah.
More! I must have more! Oh, Aremitama! Oh, I can't wait to hear that. After a patch of unsheath your sword, I beg of you, you know, it's going to be... Oh, man. Alzal. I think that's what it is. Alzal. Mm-hmm. That's his name. Alzal. Okay. Love it. And then we have our new treasure dungeon, which is not the roulette wheel. Sly, tell me you're with me. It's got to be slots.
You think it's slots?
Each of those 3 heads is a slot bar that's gonna go. And then you tilt, and you fight for the fucking golden Jesus. It's gonna tilt, and they're all gonna go back to something else. What did you think it was based on that? Because it's clearly not the roulette wheel.
I honestly had no clue what this was. Like, I guess that's how it starts out, and then based on what would pop up. I mean, I see 3 sides. Like, well, technically 1, 2, 3.
So obviously you just want the line. So you want a successful line in slots. So the way that most slots do it is what? Cherries, 2 cherries, 3 cherries, which, small. We kind of have that with the roulette wheel where it's like small crystal, like medium, like it has the different crystals essentially. Then you would have bonus game. All slot machines do the bonus game. You and I are well aware of losing it while we watch Tequila win.
Yep.
Yeah. There's obviously just not winning at all, so not getting any matching symbols. Jackpot, a 777 or bar or something. Whatever they do, like I expect it to be themed around where we are. I don't expect them to be like recognizably like right out of Vegas. But yeah, all of that. I'm looking forward to it. I wanted something new.
Yeah.
And we even have Daft Dragora. If that's not a mount, I'm gonna be furious. I will pay Gil for that mount.
Daft Dragora.
Yeah, if that's not a mount, you have fucked up, dev team. Oh yeah, 3 chocobos. Why the fuck didn't I think of that? Just use chocobos as all the fucking slot symbols.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but no, that Daft Dragora right there. If that's not a mount, they fucked up. They've actually fucked up. Dawn Trail unredeemable at this point. I'm going to be spamming the shit out of this. I can promise you. Someone said he could be a DJ. Yeah, he's Daft Dragora. Maybe it raps. Maybe it's a DJ. We don't know. No, it's Daft Dragora. All right. Duty support for Cutter's Cry. We expected this.
Yep.
That'll mean Zamiel next, Ornvale, then probably Dusk Vigil, and Shisui. Those are like the remaining ones that aren't done. PvP update. Series 9 beginning. We did not get a preview of the reward. We'll get that probably next patch. Action adjustments and the new crystalline conflict map.
This is I think this is probably, in my opinion, the best looking map.
It is I completely agree. I completely agree. It looks very Palestra-y in terms of its setup. It's a little more narrow.
Yeah.
But it very much reminds me. It's like Palestra with a couple of jump pads. Is the way that I look at it. Very much about abusing the speed lanes and using the jump pads to either get back to the fight or to get behind the opponent. Big danger play, but it works out really well. We don't know if it has any environmental problems yet. Maybe a wave, which would destroy all of Tuliolol, so I'd hope not. Unless those are barriers that prevent the waves from hitting anything other than the arena.
Or tides. I could see maybe tides.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no different elevations, though. So unless the tides just like get rid of the speed lanes or something like that, the hazard is Sin.
Possibly.
Sin's just going to fly over. But it's a great looking map. Very visually pleasing. Going to be exciting. They've done a really good job with the crystalline conflict maps. The problem I've had, Sly, is that I got my border in season 1 for Crystal, and I really haven't had much of a reason to play again. Because, I just want the highest tier border.
Well, guess what? You're going to have to work a little harder.
We're getting 2 new ranks. We're getting 2 ranks above Crystal. The Omega and the Ultima rank. Oh, boy. And the grind begins anew. I haven't PvP'd in so long. I don't even know what the PvP skills do. I need to do a video of just reading them.
Just reading all the PvP tooltips?
I have not looked at any of the Dawn Trail PvP tooltips, man. Not a single one.
Oh my god.
That's not true. I know what Viper and Picto do. But that's because they didn't change them after 7. Like they didn't like rework them in 7.1. So that's fun. To me, yeah, it's kind of nice for people like me who maybe just want the borders to like have another goal to reach for. But I've criticized that the glowy weapons are not a good enough reward for working our way up to the ranks as a whole. So unless they do something else with that, maybe they will, maybe they won't. It's hard for me to get too excited. However, one thing they are doing for casual PvP is adding a duo queue. So if you just want to do casual PvP with a friend, you can do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's been a long time ask. People want it in ranked also, but at least in casual, yeah, it's a good bare minimum to have.
Cool.
Cool.
And
there's
then
gonna be
after
other
that,
adjustments too. They said there's like frontlines adjustments too, but who cares?
Yeah. And then we get back to Cosmic for a minute because we have a new planet.
Faina or Faina. One of the two.
Faina.
Yeah. This is a No Man's Sky planet.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's very luscious with blue skies. It's pretty to look at. It's definitely better than looking at the fucking moon. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But there's not much else to say. We're going to a new planet. It's going to be very, there's going to be more cosmic tool enhancements, new rewards, the stellar scale, the stellar standings again as well, all that stuff. So probably very similar structure, but refined based on the feedback that we heard before. We know that, there's going to be mounts. They're looking at the incentive past doing the tools. So we could just work all the feedback section in to kind of the expectation, but it'll probably function nearly identically.
Yep.
Then our phantom weapons. So Sly. We've had a lot of discussion about this. I have never been more pleased to see the Warrior of Light depressed before. Because that to me screams book or lights. They've heard this before.
He's still making books.
They've clearly the Warrior of Light has clearly heard whatever Geralt is asking of them before.
Please don't make it books. Please don't make it books. For the love of God, please don't make it books. Please.
Yeah, lights.
I will take lights. I will take lights. I will accept lights wholeheartedly, begrudgingly, like at the very least. But please don't make it books.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, obviously my fear. My fear is that whatever this is, it's a one-time step followed by tomes.
Yeah.
I don't want that. Especially if it's light. Light is just like such a good... Okay, here's the thing. Light farm for the first one, then light or tomes for the rest of... Hey, it's crazy. We could just do both because guess what? Then when you do your roulettes, you get light and tome. Wow. Crazy. You want to know something funny about books?
What's up?
They're a tome step because every book costs tomes. It's the other way around. It's tomes to do the step.
Just no. Just do lights. I'm fine with lights. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's fine. I will say this though. They probably want to take their advancement of the light system from Pagos and Pyros and use that instead of the original one. Give us like a lantern or something that stores light, regardless of the job you're playing. That you just, as you do content, it stacks up. That's it. One thing they should probably try to make sure that they do, in my opinion. So, you will be able to progress it in the Occult Crescent, and you will be able to progress it outside of the Occult Crescent, as per their mission statement. So, Fates and CEs, roulettes, spamming the same thing over, whatever you want. Fork Tower, all of it. But just not only tomes. Tomes is an option, great. Not only tomes. Right?
Yeah.
Right. New Deep Dungeon came with an exciting bonus announcement. I was very excited about this. So, but Sly, what is a Deep Dungeon?
To be fair, some people are just getting into the game. So I understand. But for the majority of us, we're like, yeah, why the fuck is this needed?
Sly, just to be fair, the players who watch the live letter aren't the people who need to know what a deep dungeon is. It's because all the new players, they don't read or watch shit. How do I know? I have a career based on it.
See, I'm trying to help all the newbies out, but nah. Okay, cool.
Sly, I make triple-digit dollars every time a patch note comes out. I am not that valuable. There's no part of that service that is valuable and is that valuable in any capacity. I read the lodestone so you don't have to. Jesus Christ. So new Deep Dungeon's coming out. And it's on the 1st. I actually saw a lot of people predict not this location, but that the Deep Dungeon would be on the 1st. I can't name any of them, but a lot of people I saw being like, oh, I want to go back to the 1st with it. I don't really know where, but I kind of hope they go back to the 1st. And I'm like, you know what? That's a successful guess, in my opinion.
There you go.
We are in the Pilgrims. What is it? The Pilgrims Traverse. I almost said Passage.
Traverse.
Yeah. This is doing a few things differently. For one, it is a deep dungeon that is not deep. It is long.
Yeah. It's outside.
It's a long dungeon. Yeah. That's not the size of the dungeon. It's how you use it. Anyway. I'm assuming because this is an Ilmeg, and it's all fairy magic, I'd assume it's mostly rooms that are like illusions that just you're kind of just traversing between, in a sense.
Trap rooms?
I mean, isn't a whole deep dungeon just a series of trap rooms?
No, but like an actual trap room.
Kind of more so like an illusion that was put up to either keep something out or keep something in. Yeah, a lot of people wanted Ronkin. That was definitely a pretty common guess. And it would have made sense. Final Fantasy V theme with Occult Crescent, so I know why people did that. Yeah. It's like a fairy escape room. There you go. That's a good way of putting it. I assume that Titania is just mad at us and it's like, get in the fucking dungeon, idiot. I need some entertainment.
She hasn't heard from her sapling in so long.
Exactly. And it's also like there's some outside. I will say this, great decision. Heaven on High has some outside sections, especially near the top. As you get, there's like broken sections in the side of the wall to like show that the tower's degrading, and then the very top. And it is a very visually appeasing thing. Like, yeah, it can be kind of cool to like dig through the underground caverns and the really techie stuff and like the almost like ghostly things that we see in the bottom of Palace and Orthos. But man, it's so refreshing when you get to floors and it's like outside and it's like less claustrophobic. Oh, it's such a relief as someone who's done a bunch of deep dungeons. So I'm a big fan personally. Now that's all good, well and good. You still need Palace of the Dead 450 done to do this. I'm not a fan of them continuing to try to enforce that.
Same. When I read that, I was like, why are we still doing this?
Yeah. I'm actually going to be making an updated floor 1 to 50 guide, and I'm going to dump all of my ether armor and weapon to do it. To try to help people who are struggling to get 1 to 50 done. I'm also going to be hosting Deep Dungeon days where I only help people do 1 to 50 if they don't have clears, because I don't agree with this still being a thing. It's a non-existent queue. Even when you tell people like this, like you did with Orthos when it released, a lot of people just kind of didn't want to do it. Like, it's just annoying. Yeah, we'll call it the Deep Dungeon Derby.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't need to say it again. I disagree with still doing it, but it is the requirement. So all we can do as a community is our part, you know? Level 91 or above to enter. It is a leveling content. So if you have jobs to level from 91 to 100, get them to 91 first, do a day of roulettes, and then go in here. And then you access it in Ilmeg, as to be expected. Now, that's all normal stuff, Sly.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a bonus. One more! After you beat the floor 99 boss, which was something they did in Orthos, first time they did that, great idea. Thought it was a fantastic way of capping everything off. We get a Savage version of the floor 99 boss made for 4 players. We got a world first race on our hands, baby. The climb to floor 100 plus beating the boss is now its own world race.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I am very, very excited. And it's made for 4 players. That is not a solo boss. I love it. It says it's made for 4 players. Level 100, party of 4.
It said, wait. It says it can be challenged with a level 100 party of 4. Can be.
Yeah, that means, do you know what that means, Sly? That means that if you don't do those things, it cannot be.
With, the onus on, solo runs and everything. I don't see why they wouldn't make
because
that
it's not in Deep Dungeon. It doesn't use the Deep Dungeon rules. It's its own. It's like a normal.
So
boss.
it's its own thing. It's its own thing. But like the question is, if you fail it, does that reset your progress? If this is something completely separate,
it literally just unlocks at the NPC. You're basically there. You have to do this content. Think of it like Memoria Misera, but on a way more extreme level. Memoria Misera, you have to do that first quest in order to get the extreme, or I guess like any trial in that case. But yeah. Yeah, it's not going to use your Deep Dungeon stats at all. It's just going to be like, hey, I want to challenge the Savage Mode version of this boss. I'm queuing in. It probably won't use your Ether Pool or anything. Maybe some point people will be able, as long as it's not item level synced, then at some point, somebody will be able to solo it. Some expansion down the line. Maybe, depending on the mechanics. But it's made to be done with a party of 4. And I think the actual reason for this is they're trying to encourage people to group up with their friends or make groups to actually climb that are not just soloers. I think they're trying to add an extra incentive for groups of players to participate in the content and not for everyone to go off and solo it. Because they know that like hardcore raiders who may not have done Deep Dungeon before, because like who cares, they might now do this because they want to do this new boss. I mean, that has worked time and again. Ever since BA, raiders have been like, I gotta make sure I'm on top of certain things. Because you never know what they're going to lock content behind. And yeah, this is another case. I'm excited. I don't know what the rewards will be, but I'm excited.
I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things about this. That's one of the biggest worries.
I'm gonna be probably taking this Deep Dungeon. I'm in my collection phase of Final Fantasy 14 where I actually want to do a little bit of everything. Sly, I think getting every Deep Dungeon weapon is the next thing for me.
This man is on drugs.
Yes, I am. Those drugs are lisinopril and hydrochlorothiazide.
No, the good ones they did in the 70s.
Cocaine? Acid?
Yes.
Wait, the good ones? Sly? Sly? The modern age, it's copium. Or fentanyl.
That's not a good one.
Copium. Those are the modern drugs. Copium and fentanyl. Oh, man. Sly. Ugh. There's achievements locked behind that Sly. Maybe I am going to be an achievement hunter at some point. I'm kind of one step away from it, really.
One.
Yeah, do you know how many easy achievements there are in this game I have not done? So many. Like, there are fates I have never completed that are part of achievements.
Virtual, that's what I'm saying. One, but you're already there.
Bro, if you look at the achievement hunting scene, I'm a fucking amateur. The achievement hunting scene is like Asa Akira, and I'm like that random no-name no one's ever heard about. Pure amateur. Sly's face right now. That was well worth the reference.
Oh my god.
I had to do that just for Sly. Sly's like, she's not even my favorite. Anyway. Anyway, so yeah. I'm looking forward to challenging both the deep dungeon. I just hope the early floors aren't a slog. If they are the same pace as EO was, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That killed a lot of excitement for Eureka Orthos, how fucking slow the early floors were. So if they don't do that incorrectly, probably going to be a good time. I think a lot of people don't value enough that the actual monsters and what they do, even if they're really simple mechanics, is an essential key aspect of what separates the deep dungeons. That last 20 to 30 floors for every deep dungeon is so distinctly different, especially that that makes a whole lot of the experience. I really hope they nail that. They need to nail it so bad. I cannot have another EO that is just so slow. It's because it also hurt the leveling in there, and we don't have. This is the leveling content. You need like a zippy 21 to 30, especially.
Oh yeah.
So, fingers crossed the leveling floors are good. And then they showed us a bit of the boss. A very tiny bit, because they're keeping it a secret. That's a
very
Sin Eater.
Slimy.
That's a
slimy Sin Eater.
That's a slimy. That's Forgiven Obscenity, I believe, from Mount Golg, or at least that's the same model. I don't remember if that's one of the role quests models, but this is looking like some Sin Eater fuckface amalgamation. This is the Rat King of Sin Eaters. That's what this thing is. It's the Rat King. I have to imagine that it's just going to be a fucking hideous looking boss that's made up of all the most major Sin Eaters that we know of. It's going to be the entire royal family turned into Sin Eaters. Yeah, probably. This looks this isn't Ilmeg, and it looks like the castle is associated. So the original Titania was keeping a pet. Now, that was it for the content updates thus far. There is a part 2 live letter. We don't often get surprises in the part 2 live letter. But then Yoshida had to notice that he's been seeing a lot of comments about Ultimate. And
yeah, I kind of want to, like, with everything, I kind of wanted to say, yeah, when's Ultimate? Between every point. When's Ultimate? When's Ultimate? Again, Ultimate? When's Ultimate?
Have they said anything about Ultimate yet?
When's Ultimate? 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 Has he said anything about Ultimate yet? Ultimate? Haps, Ultimate?
No.
Fuck this game. I'm done. I'm taking a break. See you next expansion. Fuck you. No.
I need that clipped and shipped, please. He'll be back. He'll be back. They always come back. Every time they always.
I'm never coming back. No, dead game. No, I'm going back to WoW.
You know what? Okay, chat actually said the funnier thing that I was going to say. This game doesn't have content for me to watch others do and not do myself. Yeah, they're right. They're right.
Yeah.
That's more true than any other opinion that I've heard, because that's the majority of the people. Slice never played WoW.
Exactly.
So yes, as I predicted, there is no ultimate in 7.3. I have been saying it.
Now you say 7.3.
Yeah, I did. Fuck you. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Again,
Okay.
He says 7.3. How are you feeling about 4 or 5? 0.4 or 5?
Never 0.4. No, never in 0.4. What about sick in 7.3? There you go. We could definitely use that meme format with this. It's like there's no ultimate in 7.3. But what about sick in 7.3? I'm not, obviously it would be dumb for me to say for sure, because I'd look as ridiculous as anyone who is slurring other people over the 7.3. Because when I said no 7.3, everyone looked at me like I was a fucking crack addict. Like, of course it's in 7.3. And I'm just like, I don't think so. I've got a feeling that it's not. And my feeling is a very simple one. It follows a very simple point of logic.
Okay.
In Shadowbringers, the overwhelming feedback was that we wanted a 0.5 ultimate because it would help better bridge the gap between the final raid tier and the end of the expansion. That was the overwhelming feedback from Ultimate Raiders. So much so that they tried to do it. And then the world was shut down and that fell apart. Now, of course, they don't expect that to happen again. So I think because there's no confirmation of a 7.5 ultimate either, that's worth saying, that they are aiming to do that this time. To redo what they wanted to do in Shadowbringers, which was based on player feedback.
Okay. I'm trying to go back deep in the archives of the live letters. Because if I remember, when they were talking about ultimates for Dawn Trail, I want to say that the slide said new ultimate raid singular.
It did.
That's why I'm saying that's why I'm thinking this might, like, Frew might be the only thing you're getting in Dawn Trail. And I'm like, and every raider had the hopium and the copium and that ultimate. Okay. So we're getting one in 7.4 or 7.5. You've eliminated 7.4. 0.5.
I will say this.
Oh no.
They did clarify after that does not mean there will be only one. They did clarify that.
7.6.
Yeah, it'll be in 7. No, probably 7.7 actually. Odd numbered patches.
7. Okay, cool.
Yeah, odd numbered patches. But at this point, remember that a pattern 3 makes a pattern. Remember.
Yeah.
We have only had 2 expansions with 2 ultimates. We haven't ever had our pattern. The pattern is the MSQ raid thing, which also was kind of broken, but only because Stormblood. Yeah. So just goes to show, no, don't say there's a pattern. We need at least 3 occurrences of something for a pattern. 3 consistent occurrences, not 2. So there was no reason to expect a 0.3 ultimate. A lot of people wish there was one, though, because we are in a kind of a weird spot with the no ultimate in 7.3. Now, I will say I don't think it's at no ultimate in 7.3. basically the end game content is the deep dungeon with the extra boss. Cosmic, we've already seen the first one. Even with improvements, I think it's fair to say that's probably not going to be that much different in terms of player agency after the first week. I think that's fair to say.
I agree.
Of course, we have all of our like quick one shots. We have our, our dailies and whatnot. We have weekly Unreal, Extreme Trial, all that stuff. And then the quality of the MSQ and all the stories, that's all going to come individually. We also don't know about any other potential new grinds. They could surprise us with another Fate token mount, another Gathering token mount. Always a possibility. I don't think it's probable. Those are question marks always. But it's a weird spot all the same. Because while having a lot of what we already expect, plus some things that we knew were coming, what are you really going to do in point 3? What will you spend your time on? Honestly, it's a fair question.
Mm-hmm.
Raiders don't have a chaotic, which they shouldn't have expected. An ultimate, which you could kind of have expected, but it was never guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
PvP, oh fuck, Omega and Ultima rank, here we go. That's it. That was what it was all the time. Blue Mage, the level 90 update, still not here. That's another one. Unless they surprise us with that next. I don't expect surprise. Part 2 does sometimes have surprises. Most of the time it doesn't.
Nah.
Fork Tower, because I can actually enter it now. There you go. It really comes down to, is the Relic grind going to satiate players who actually want to grind it? No. I know. Listen, we don't know that for sure yet, but you're right. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then how much deep dungeon do you want to do? Like the deep dungeon people, they're going to be coasting. They're going to love it. Like they're going to have content for months and months and months.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. And then the moon. I mean, the any moon prog. Maybe if it feels better, more people might be tempted to go for any of the long-term achievements, but that's about it. So usually, question.
So for the Raiders, for the hardcore Raiders, I mean, with all that out of the way, all the other content out of the way, which let's call a spade, and we'll say more often than not, they won't interact with it. The only thing they had was raid. They would just raid log.
Mm-hmm.
There's no raid. So what are they going to do? They're not going to log. There's nothing to log to for them.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Now
we kind of come to this juncture of the Raiders versus, well, because you gotta admit, for a while, I feel like the devs were kind of, in terms of the content, kind of focused on, the more hardcore players.
Oh yeah, all of Endwalker was awful for casual players and only and abundant for raiders without good enough rewards. 100%.
So you have the demographic they're like, okay, well, I'm not doing ultimate, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. The fuck can I do?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that this meets in the middle, because this definitely doesn't meet in the middle. No, in no way, shape, or form does this meet in the middle. But I can agree that for the more casual crowd, there has been a lot more for them to do.
I disagree. I think we're still pretty raid indexed post Endwalker right now.
I'd say it's not as bad as
it's not as bad, but it's still pretty heavily in our face.
It's
There's
still
a
pretty
reason
bad.
why we had the discussion about chaotic in point 1 not really being the right timing, because we did get all of Endwalker, but then we got Chaotic and Fru, you know, followed by a Savage tier, followed, you know, like this, it's been a lot of that, followed by Fork Tower, which was only with the permadeath mode, you know.
So because of all this, you put all this together, and you have a bunch of your player base, the casuals, who aren't pleased. Had to catch myself. And you have a bunch of hardcore raiders who are also not pleased. So the good majority of your player base isn't pleased. What do?
What do?
That is the question. What do?
I think the problem is we're seeing the answers in some of the feedback section that they went over. I think a lot of the fixes to Cosmic and Occult, if those had been there from the get-go, we have a whole different conversation right now. A massively different conversation. But because those are future prospects, some sooner than others, you know, obviously, you know, the Fork Tower adjustments and the moon and the general cosmic adjustments in 0.3. It's nice. They don't make for a whole new piece of content. Obviously, the new planet does, but even then, depending on the rate of progress, I mean, it's hard to say that more than like 50 to 100 people per server really go to cosmic exploration on the daily, if even that. So it's it's a bit of a tough spot. I think I do think there are things that, while I haven't loved the implementation, that similar, if they could make some sort of adjustment to it, probably would have served better. Variant and Criterion serves as a casual plus hardcore combination. The problem is Variant being very one note and effectively being done super quick. And not being like repeatable in any capacity. You never go into like a variant roulette and get excited at what route you got, because that's not a thing. Like that would be something that extends the life of variant really well. And then Criterion's for people like me, and if you have the rewards adjusted, that's probably better. I don't even think you need to adjust variant rewards. I think it just literally needs to have a roulette with that people feel like they can add to their daily routine. And it would be an immense improvement for the average player who actually really loves dungeons and wants more dungeon experience as a whole. Do I ever say nice things about dungeons? No, but a lot of people miss having the extra hard mode dungeon. They miss having that dungeon that they can just do, that they can pop in and get done in like no time at all if they don't have that much time. And that's something that no matter what your skill level is, you should accept that that's something that a fair portion of the player base would actively engage in. And it goes a long way. So it becomes a question of the timing. What if they didn't put any resources into this chaotic idea and instead put Occult Crescent earlier? Then maybe we get 3 zones, and then maybe in one of the patches we get a variant and a Criterion, and they add the variant roulette for the first time. You know, things that they are doing to other content, adding extra PvP ranks, trying to create more incentive, creating more maps. We're seeing a good amount of resources into things that really just don't target a wide enough range of players, but are giving the people who like their individual pizza slices more pizza. Like if you're a raider like me, obviously you wanted an ultimate, and that's great, but that still doesn't really address the concern of there being an overabundance of hardcore content being released and not enough content that everyone can do that can be released. So we're just seeing a different pizza slice being added on, but I paid for the whole damn pizza.
Right. Every month we pay for this pizza.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone's always looking for that slice with their name on it. And if you're not a deep dungeon player, you're not a crafter or gatherer working on the cosmic stuff, then those are the 2 big pizza slices that patch.
I'm going to ask the question because I feel like I've been seeing it for pretty much months at this point.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the state of the The realm.
The realm?
How do you feel? Yeah. How do you feel about the state of the game right now?
State of the game is not indexing enough on wide scale content features. Where they've actually shown promise in a lot of those ideas, I don't think they've tapped into them as much as they can. Okay, great example. Fates. Open world content has a reward structure built behind it. Reward structure is not updated with new stuff frequently enough, and Fates themselves could probably use a bit of an overhaul in terms of getting players engaged with them. They were afraid of EXP rewards from Fates a long time ago. I don't think you need to be anymore. I think even if Fates were better than everything else, a lot of people would still log in and just do their roulettes and not do Fates. I think you bump the EXP from Fates, you regularly support bicolor gemstones with new rewards a couple of times throughout the expansion, and you give people a good reason to go and engage with that. Maybe introduce some new types of Fates. We've seen some random, like there's like a really random one in Stormblood where you have to stop a target from reaching the end. It's the only Fate that has the icon that it has. And so objectives like that and adding things like that would probably be better. If they want a more MMO-y feel, like they're talking about with Dawn Trail, then having places on like in portions of the map similar to the Goblin base in South Shroud, probably not a horrible idea. I get that it can be kind of frustrating for a player and you need to do something there and it's currently taken over by goblins. It would be frustrating, but I think if you want that MMO-y feel, things like that do accomplish that quite well. It gives a bit more of a living feel to the zones, similar to the Coerls that bombard the area in Outer Lenosha, I think it is, or Upper Lenosha. So I think that's like a building block that if they really want to go a little bit more on things, they could get a lot of mileage out of Fates without having to reinvent the wheel. You just have to go back and revisit an old system to give it more value. I think that honestly, with what they've been doing with the Fates and critical engagements, we could probably use a bit of that without all of the external systems. You could probably use a bit of that in the open world. Treasure maps, glad to see a new map. I think that's a system that's actually well supported, so I don't really have much.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's well advertised to players.
I think it is. It's just that they just choose either they choose not to interact with it at all.
A lot of people don't know it exists at all. So many people don't even know it exists.
Like I try to tell people all the time, like, look,
I do too.
If you have a gatherer, go dig up a map. If you have money, go buy one. And usually try to make some money. Usually when it, they want to hit it when it comes out.
They don't know about the dungeon. The maps is a lot different than knowing about the dungeon. They know about the maps, and they may just not think it's worth doing. They don't know about you know how many times I stream the treasure dungeon, and people go, what the fuck is this? What is this wizardry that you found?
Like, what's this dungeon? Like, this is the treasure dungeon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get that quite a few times, too.
Yeah.
My thing is, if you interact with it, if you're doing a map party, you're eventually going to get a portal. Like, unless you have a real.
Yeah, but they don't know that they should even be joining map parties because they don't know portals exist. That's the thing. It's not a well-advertised function of the game. And that's another thing, better advertising your kind of really.
Your content?
Yeah, your content. Yeah, let's just say that.
Yeah.
Like give them a better idea of things like that. Like, honestly, it wouldn't be the worst idea to do a tutorial portal dungeon.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree. Like, where would you put it?
Like a duty support, just like a few NPCs that you do it with.
Hall the intermediate.
Yeah, add it to the hall. Add it to something like that. Add a hall of features we haven't fucking told you about.
Because at the end of the day, this is a theme park MMO, and for a lot of people who have, not been playing since ARR or 1.0 and just gotten in, I don't know, during Shadowbringers or whatnot, they might not know about everything. So you're right. I kind of agree that certain features kind of get lost in the shuffle. Either they don't know about it or just won't interact with it at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. Ocean fishing is another one that kind of flies under the radar for a lot of people as well.
To be fair, people don't fish. Like a lot of people don't want to do gathering or crafting, and that's understandable too. That's another side.
My man just said people don't want to fish.
I'll admit it. Like I know some of them. They're like, yeah, I don't really do the whole gathering and crafting thing. I just, hit stuff and then log out. Like, understandable. I feel that. I personally like crafting and gathering. It's zen. Plus it makes money. Yeah.
Yeah, spearfishing's not supported basically at all. It's basically introduced and then only kind of utilized after that.
No. I will semi-stop you because, again, don't ruin the fucking market. If more people know about this shit, we can't make money.
They took my desynthesis market. I am scorched earth at this point.
You're snitching out. You're just snitching out. They took desynth away from me.
As soon as they took desynthesis from me, I'm scorched earth. I'm snitching, my man. Dude, you want to know where there's some good money right now? Variant dungeons, because nobody does them, so the rewards are not abundant on the market. I'm snitching.
Damn. Damn.
Eureka fragments. Eureka fragments still super valuable. There's some really easy farms you can do that just make make a ton of money. I'm snitching.
It's fucked now. Damn. We're fucked, boys.
I remember, dude.
Good job getting the money you could,
dude. If you just make like low-level housing furnishings, you don't even have to have a good. You could just fucking fast synth that shit. People just sell that shit for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I'm snitching.
Yeah.
Chaotic Alliance chaotic. Those drops can be sold. Those mounts can be sold. Ain't nobody doing that shit anymore, except for the few people who do clears on weekends. That shit sells. I'm snitching.
He's just telling all the business, like all the fucking business. More than likely, people ain't going to, you're right, people ain't going to do it. Like, it's just a matter of them having to do it.
Yeah, you know what bots do? They do fates because they can just sell bicolor gemstone vouchers for $100K a pop. And that shit's easy money. I'm snitching.
He's snitching everything today.
I'm snitching.
This is the mood. This is the mood.
And everyone's like, no, I think I'll just keep pretending to be a cute girl in venues and get gil from people that way.
Let's fucking talk about that shit. Okay. If the game... That's one thing I've been wanting to... This is one thing I've been wanting to say. Like, in terms of the health of the game. You did bring a good point. It's not really just venues, but community-driven content.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about gooning. Oh, I guess that is community-driven content. No. That works still. Okay, keep going.
Sure. Gooning is community-driven content. Sure.
Yeah.
But no, like I speak in terms of like just venues or like what was I about to say? Stuff like Aethercon or things like that. People want to throw fashion shows and everything. Those are successful when the game itself is successful. Meaning the game's in a good place, which right now we can say for a fact it's not. It's not bad. It's not like so fucking terrible. It's not 1.0, but it's still not in the best place. And people have really, really versed their opinions about that. But at the end of the day, yeah, when the game is succeeding, the game is doing well, when everybody is thriving, both the casual community, the hardcore community, the ones who are new, the ones who are in between, when everybody's like happy, say it.
The look
of it. Say it. Okay. When everybody is happy, everything thrives on the community side.
Yeah. Generally.
Yeah, generally. And right now we're not in the best place. Like and like, again, I've been reading this on the forums, Reddit, Twitter, pretty much all the bad places. It's been so much doom and gloom about, I fucking hate this game right now. This game is so much ass that Megan Thee Stallion would be jealous. I mean, there's
That's
just
a lot of ass.
I mean, it is a lot of ass. And I get the outrage. I get it. I understand. I completely understand. Everybody has a valid point.
Okay.
I'm not going to make the old adage of, hey, you can go play something else. No, we want to play this game. We pay for it every month. Why the fuck would we want to play something else? Then your opinions, your outrage, stress it in a, don't want to say positive, but more constructive way at the right people so they can fucking hear you and we can change this shit and it'll be better for everybody.
Or you can go play the mobile version when it comes out.
Or do that.
It's out in China right now. Yeah, I'm mostly okay with everything. I'm fortunate. I'm in the position where I actively, at the very least, am willing to go into almost every content.
Yeah, and try it. Like, I'll at least say, like, fuck, I tried. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I have every cosmic tool. I fucking never wanted to do that shit. But I did it this time. And now I actually know what crafting is supposed to look like. I actually was, after the first 2 or 3, I stopped using Raphael altogether. And I was like, oh, I fucked this up. Let me do this instead. Fuck, I got it right. I'm learning. I hate this. I hate knowing better.
Proud of you. Proud of you.
Hate this.
Brings a tear to my eye, man.
Yeah, it brings tears to mine, too. Mine are from pain, though. But that's not the case for every single person. And not everyone will find enjoyment in trying all those goals. I mean, I was just talking earlier how I'm the sicko who's, I'm going to get every deep dungeon weapon. That's going to be like my next pet project. I still want to do all the hunt stuff as well. I have triple triad cards I haven't kept up with, that I have to go back and get. And a handful of other things that I need to, like, if I really want to be nutso crazy, like, I still have all of my BA weapons to get. Like, and these are things that are basically just extra goals on the content I already like.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of whether or not I want to do them. Yeah, the 1,000 carat achievement is on the list too, but we'll get to that one day.
One day. In 7 years.
No, that's
speaking which, moving on from that tangent, we have three. I want to say 3 more things from this live letter. Speaking of, content that, Ultimate had to die for, chat bubbles.
Yeah. This doesn't say it says in active development, but it doesn't say it's coming after, because later on one of the slides, it very specifically says coming 7.4 and later for a different 7.4 thing.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that.
This doesn't say that, but it says in act. It's very mixed signals. So does it mean it's ready in 7.3? Does that mean it's not coming in 7. I don't know.
We don't know.
I'm just gonna eat my rage.
Under active development. That's all we know. And they kind of went in on this for a while. After saying no ultimate, they kind of went in on this for a while, for a good amount of time, just really making the hardcore raiders really mad. But
I don't care for chat bubbles much. It's not a feature I care for.
Same.
Personally.
Same. I mean, a lot of people were wanting it, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's no reason I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. I'm just saying I can't. Similar to how other people can't derive excitement from a deep dungeon announcement, for example, I can't derive enjoyment from chat bubble news.
Yeah. That's fair.
I also actually have an active fear about chat bubbles.
Why? Oh.
Did you figure it out? I don't know. It could be a couple things you're thinking over there.
Huh.
I am expecting Plagon integrations to use chat bubbles for raid mechanic callouts and markers and debuffs. I have defamation because WoW does that with DBM. And so I was like, oh no, you're going to see PFs that are like chat bubbles on. Kill me. I already don't want to go into PF.
Yeah, so I will have them bitches off.
Please enable it. That's going to be the lingo. I have it. Do you have it? I have it. Please enable it.
No.
WoW is kind of doubling back on that, but I feel like 14 is behind the time. Here's the thing. I'm not talking about the 14 team doing it. I'm talking about that plug-on people doing it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
We'll see.
There are other reasons I don't care for it. That was one I thought of today, though. You know when you already don't like something, so you start looking for more reasons to hate it?
More reasons to not like it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you don't even do it on purpose. It just kind of happens as you think about it because you hate it so much, but you can't stop thinking about it because you're sick in the fucking head. That's me with chat bubbles and Final Fantasy 9. Both of those things.
Both of those things.
But it is going to be great for a lot of people. One actually great application I'm looking forward to it for is plays at venues. I think it's essential to improve the venue scene in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Next up, it's been 87 years. No, it's just really been 6 years. Expanded headgear support for Hrothgar and Vieira. You have hats.
They have hats. Not all of the hats, but they have hats.
No, not all of them, but they have hats.
Here's a hat and here's a hat and here's a hat and here's a hat. Hats. Hats, 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 hats. Thank you. Hey, Arnold.
Now, one thing you got to realize about this, and if you don't, you've been living under a rock. There had to have been, and I want to say there
had
was.
to have been. I get it.
There was a plug-on creator who died for these things. So
David, this is a creator. Whoever made that, they've been dying for years. They've been like, please kill me. Please kill me.
Yeah. We thank you for your service. Feel free to go get your Grand Slam from Denny's. Thank you so much. It is long overdue for you. Yeah. Jesus. But yes,
I mean, it's funny because they basically just said, let the ears clip. And that's all everyone's been saying for years.
Yeah. It's like, man, that plug-on probably looks better than this. I'm like, you're probably right. But, take the win.
Yep.
Just take
the win. Yeah. Not much else you can say about that. They're also adding a toggle to get rid of the ears, which I find hilarious.
Yes. So many people are like, okay,
fold them
get
down.
rid of the one thing that makes, this race. Yeah. Okay, sure. Then I just look like everybody else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Although I think still compared to before, so before it would be the hat wouldn't work at all and your hair, it would just be whatever your head was. Now it's that you can have the hat with your ears or with that. So it's still technically adding something, even if it's still hiding the ears when you enable that feature, or I guess disable it depending on how I want to look at it. So I get it kind of, but it looks really funny.
Yeah. Outside of hats, another small change. For hoods,
small
bangs.
This is huge for a lot of people. It actually
bangs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks really nice. I'll admit, I don't care about this kind of stuff, but seeing the bangs through the hood, it's just good. That's it. Somebody else definitely died for that sin.
Oh yeah. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. No doubt. I don't know who, but somebody died for that sin for sure.
And speaking of 87 years, aka I'm gonna say maybe 4. When was the last time when we actually heard about this? Was 4 years ago, maybe?
No, we heard about this at a fan fest, which was not 4 years ago. And it wasn't the last time we heard about it. It was the first time we heard about it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the first time we heard about it.
Yeah, was at a fan fest. It has not been 4 years since fan fest.
It wasn't at the last fan fest.
It was that. It doesn't matter which one it was at. It still wasn't 4 years ago. The last fan fest
so it's
wasn't.
longer. It's
the last. That would be COVID.
Yeah. So it's been much longer than 4 years.
No, it's been like 2 years. We heard about this at Dawn Trail Fan Fest.
No. I want to say that we heard about this long before that. It was brought up. I want to say that was brought up, like the idea. Okay, we'll work on it.
That's not the same as them saying that it's a thing. They talked about it as a thing at, I think, NA for Dawn Trail.
But finally, we get our raid planner.
Yep.
Now, there's a caveat.
Onward.
Yeah, that's the caveat. 7.4 and onward. So if you looked at the slide right at the top, 7.4 and onwards. But we get an image of what it will look like. And yeah, what can I say? It looks good.
Yeah, the specific example they show of an actual fight is M5S. That is Frog Taraj, with the DPS doing the frog baits and the supports not taking the frog AoE. It's got the AoEs. My big thing here is it's actually showcasing the AoEs and their sizes, and it's not player estimated. So unless it's fucking make believe, and they just I say that.
Yeah, and that's why
I almost wonder if this is just the player guessing how big the AoE is anyway. But.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering, because like if we're planning for a fight, if we're like, are these raid plans specific to each fight? Does it say?
Yes. So the way that it seems to work is you can save one scheme of diagrams per instance. So at least in their current development of it, per their comment about things they want to consider while they're still developing it. 1 sec. Let me see this. Okay. Sorry. I have an appointment for something tomorrow, and they texted me just to confirm the appointment. That there seems to be that you can basically save diagrams for one fight, and that those are all your diagrams for that fight, and that every fight has its own scheme, as they're calling it. However, in their current development, it seems there can only be one scheme. So let's say you have a Hector strat scheme in your raid planner, but you're doing Brain Dead or whatever the fuck is another strat at the time. You wouldn't have space for the second scheme. They've already acknowledged that things that they are, quote, considering, which I'm assuming is while it's in mid-development, is adding the ability to add multiple schemes. But the big thing is that these functions under consideration, they seem to be the functions that they have not yet implemented, that they are currently working on and or deciding, not things that will happen after it comes out. This is especially prevalent when Yoshi P says that, where is the exact line? I want to make sure I read it. We want to make these features more solid. Producer live. Where is the exact line that he said? I'm trying to find it. Since not everyone will be a whiteboard maker, obviously we need a feature to be able to share them. The need there means it's not considered an option. It's considered a must. So I assume that these fact functions under consideration are things that they are looking at that are not currently implemented, that they are basically still in the process of coming up with. This is especially noticeable because there is a share button at the top of the fucking raid planner. Literally, it could be a copy button, I suppose, but whatever. It looks like there's a share button. So I think they're well aware that you need to be able to share it. And he even says you need to be able to share it. There's no point if you can't share it. I think the most important thing is the ability to display it during battle. That is huge. It is a very common prog tool to open up a second monitor or pull it up on your phone. If there's a diagram of a mechanic that you're still kind of learning, and like right before it happens, you want to reference, or even during you want to reference, using it like a cheat sheet, massive. Absolutely massive. For console, PC, doesn't matter. 10 out of 10. That's not even needed. I would say that's not like if it's not there, it can't function. But it's like, holy shit, just do it. Because like it's going to be a fantastic way of... You will force people to use the tool. If you can just pull it up in a window in game. Like that will be one of the things that kind of eliminates the whole like, oh, I'll just use raid plan kind of deal. So big fan. So if they nail this, and it seems like they're concerned with not nailing it, which is again why it hasn't come out yet.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just great. Not having to have it up on a second. Oh God, yeah, it'd be so good. Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Even though I kind of would like it on the second monitor to kind of be out of the way of...
I mean, you could take a screenshot and open it on the second monitor.
That's true.
If you really want it on the second monitor instead, just screenshot it right on your game and then just pull it up as an image.
Yeah. Fortunately, 14 cannot do pop-out windows.
The pop-out window is take a screenshot and open the screenshot slot.
Yeah, that's it. I know.
And then they confirmed they would talk about TARDIS housing in the Part 2 live letter as well.
Cool.
So if you haven't heard about that in a while, they were originally aiming for Point 1 and then it just kind of disappeared, but they said they're going to talk about it in Part 2. And if they're talking about it in Part 2, which is normally them showcasing the feature, when they talk about something in Part 2, they normally pull it up in game. Possible for the 7.3 TARDIS release. Yeah. So that covers all the important stuff. Then there's like, we got concerts and a Sakura Festival, $400 earrings, some stickers, a Yan sticker, just a bunch of Sugar Riot stickers as a whole, but a Yan is one of them. Apparently the rarest hand in all of Mahjong to ever have as a shirt, which is, I guess, interesting. The camping, a new Chronicles of Light volume, which is the one with the bonus stories from like the Tales of, plus a handful of new tales. The custom books, the Memory of Light books that they were doing, they're doing a 10% discount. They're hiring. Again, it's not that they don't have the budget to do all these things. They clearly do because they're hiring. They need people. So if you speak Japanese and live in Japan and are watching State of the Realm for some reason, because you probably aren't, then if you qualify and go hire, they need battle content designers. They're clearly trying to keep up with the demand on that front. So get at it. And then this is career opportunity, and then I don't know what the career is. Maybe it says it in the Japanese text at the top. I don't know. In fact, I can find out. What does it say? Translate app. Please don't go as poorly as translating 14 mobile has been. Job type and twist raise now hope vocational type recruitment Square login use. Okay, well that was fucking useless. I got nothing. And then they have a music tour that's sold out, so they're adding a new venue. They're adding a new stop in apparently one of the most prestigious concert venues in Japan.
Budokan.
In Budokan. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're adding that. And they will be performing some Arcadian songs there. And one last reminder that 16's now on Xbox and Tactics. Evilise Chronicles is out September 30th. That's it.
And that's it.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I'm ecstatic for Tactics.
Everybody is.
Dude, the voice act... when they played the trailer again during the live, I was like, oh, that's right. It's fully voice acted. It's fully voice acted. Oh, my God. And it's going to have extra story content. Extensive additions to the story. The 16 lore book was also there, too. It should be really cool. I'm excited. 7.3 is a little bit of a weird one. Just because we don't know how that's going to go and how it's going to be received. And we'll find out a lot more in part 2 to see if there's hopes or dreams to be had. But if not, I guess I'm starting my Deep Dungeon weapon collection.
Good luck on that front.
Yeah. But that's going to be a wrap for our State of the Realm this week. We will probably touch upon some of these topics again in the coming weeks. Not next week. Oh, yeah. I am going on a weekend vacation next week with Sophie and a few other people. And so I don't want to make any plans for Friday. I don't want to try to squeeze in a State of the Realm. So definitely nothing next week.
The following week.
It's the following week, July 4th.
It's my birthday week. Woo!
I was going to say.
AKA America Day.
America Day.
And America Day.
Yeah.
So did we do a show on America Day?
Well, we can do a show on America Day, should you so desire, but I have a feeling getting guests on America Day will be kind of tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. People like to eat. At the very least, people like to eat. So I think we just commit to a July 11th show, if anything, and the July 11th show can follow up on some of the topics that we've had today, as they will likely be sowing some sort of division in the community for some time. The following week after that, July 18th, there's probably nothing that week, because the week after that, let's see, July 25th or 26th. Should be the next letter from the producer live.
Yeah.
For reference. So we'll probably squeeze in 2 or 3 shows during July. It's looking like a good plan. But the next 2 weeks, negative. I got plans, then you got plans. Let's keep those plans as they are. You can barbecue, and I will be sitting on a beach. And I will come back with a tan. I promise.
Nice.
No more ghost me.
You're not that pale.
I have better lighting now, thanks to Sophie. But could use a shade or two.
Okay.
But with that, let's sign off for State of the Realm. Sly, you know the drill.
Again, thank y'all so much for being here. You can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox. Twitter, Sly, aka Gray Fox. Bluesky, Sly, aka Gray Fox. What am I doing? I am playing Rido. I am Slido Kuzunoha, the 14th. Rido Remastered came out yesterday. It is fucking amazing. I'll be playing more after we get done here. And pretty much over the weekend. I'll probably be doing a second run. And then Death Stranding 2 comes out next week. And then the following week is my birthday. Yay, I'm old. I'll probably be doing something on my birthday. And then, of course, I have my birthday celebration on July 5th. There will be more info about that in the coming days/weeks. So please look forward to it. Height. And yeah, that's pretty much it. For me. What about you, Happy?
Usual, Mr. Happy 1227. My latest project was Final Fantasy X No Sphere Grid. I'm gonna probably finish that up tomorrow. And then I don't know what my plans are. I'm thinking so much further ahead at this point, looking towards things like Tactics and a handful of other releases, as well as some more Platinum Trophy grinds that I should probably get back to. Crisis Core was the last one because I finished all the mainline games, and Tactics will be another one added to that list. So there's that. And also, I have another cat here. Hi, Cinnamon. Hey, I thought you... Hey, come here. Come here, buddy. Big tub. You big tub, you. Oh, there we go. Hi, Cinnamon. Sausage in here? Sausage isn't in here right now. That's fine. Yeah, a community, Sonic Racing, and a handful of other things. So I'll probably be filling my time with some RPG stuff and trying out some new stuff over the next couple of months. But I'm just chilling for the most part. I'm having a good time. So I'm just here for I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Hi.
Preach.
There we go. But yeah, that's going to be, and like I said, next weekend I'll be on vacation, so I won't be streaming at all. So there's also that. But with that, Sly, I think we are good to sign off for the day. Do a short post show and then head out. I got movie plans tonight. I'll probably want to eat before the movies. Gotta see How to Train Your Dragon. I heard the live action was pretty good.
I still can go see Ballerina.
Yeah, a Ballerina I also kind of want to go see. I don't know if I'm going to go see it. I'll probably just watch that when it comes to home or something. So that's going to be a wrap for us. So thanks everyone for hanging out. Thanks to the sponsors again over on Patreon. Thanks to Steel Series as always as well. And we'll see you in 3 weeks technically for the next State of the Realm. So thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you when I see you, and Sly will see you in a few minutes. I didn't change last week's outro, so that's fine. Lyle and Keo are on that still. That's fine. I was so worried about the scene breaking. I just I forgot completely about the outro. That's just how it has to be. Okay. Bye-bye everyone on the video recording side thing.
See you soon.